think he's talking to you.
And here we go, guys. We are live here on Phoenix 92.5 FM on Twitch, Periscope, and YouTube. Not on Mixer, because Mixer's cancelled. Cancel culture has hit Mixnod, and Mixer's just Mixer.
What did Mixer do?
Mixer did everything. No, what happened to Mixer was it annoyed Microsoft and got bought by Facebook. So we haven't set that up yet, but Mixer is no more. We had a Mixer account for 2 weeks, and then it went away. So that's why we're not on Mixer, guys. So if you are listening to us on YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, thank you very much. Or of course here on Phoenix 92.5 FM and nerdtoknowmedia.com. It's only 3 of us, guys. The 3 Avengers are back.
Yeah.
That hasn't been like
hello.
Show 70 as well, so we're nearly at 100. It's crazy.
70 episodes young.
Exactly. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that we this crazy road would have gone on this long? But sure.
Yeah, I mean, you start with wrestling and then just like talk about things that aren't wrestling, and here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
that's our secret to success.
Everything still comes back to wrestling because everything is indeed wrestling.
Yeah.
So that's
and if it doesn't go to wrestling, it's because we went to Star Wars.
Exactly.
So.
And that's where we're going to start the show this week. Because we have some Star Wars news for the first time.
I suppose it is a classic episode because it is a 3 of us. So of course we're going to talk about Star Wars, aren't we?
Exactly. We are. Of course we are.
Yeah.
Because like this week, I wasn't expecting to have like the best news ever, and it's that we're going to have a cockpit-based Star Wars game, Star Wars Squadrons. So
Rogue Squadron was my jam back when I was a kid. I am both incredibly excited and terrified of this.
No, this is more like if you play TIE Fighter and X-Wing.
Okay.
It's simulation based, so you're actually flying a TIE Fighter and an X-Wing, not like a battle simulation as such.
Did you see the survey that came out for this game?
No.
There was a survey done to see how, like, to poll how many, like, who play for the Rebel Alliance and who wants to play for the Empire.
Is it all the Empire?
I mean, landslide for the Empire. I think it was like
that's because the Empire
3-1.
That's because the Empire were right. It's like, we saw what happened. It collapsed. It's like the Empire brought peace and justice to the galaxy.
The Empire did nothing wrong.
No,
like
nothing wrong.
It murdered all the Jedi.
Hold on, the Jedi were going there anyway because they were corrupt.
Yeah, and they were religious fanatics. You couldn't have them be in power. It's just a bad idea.
As opposed to the religious fanatic who's in charge of the Empire.
Nobody knew that.
You can't prove that. That's just that.
Yeah, you can't prove that.
That's just the propaganda you've consumed from the rebels. Of course, you say that.
Oh no, even taking that out, right? So just say that was true. Hold on. We're getting some feedback there. Even taking that out there, right? And everything was all well and good. We saw what happened to the New Republic. In canon, remember, in this horrible Disney canon, it failed. And it ended up with something far worse. So it's just like, they didn't get rid of slavery, still there. They didn't
get rid of weapons profiteering either.
It just doubled. The only thing they got rid of was a government that worked, and it's something that kept people safe. So it's just like, of course you're gonna fight for the Empire.
Like the Empire brought law to Tatooine. Exactly. You cannot argue against this.
The Hudson check.
Yeah.
So it's like, seriously.
No, he didn't. He has a pet Rancor and a big Sarlacc thing that he regularly feeds his guests to under the Empire's rule.
Well, I said kept them in check. I didn't say they totally nerfed them.
But also, it's worth noting, Cian, we know this from episode 1, Jabba the Hutt lived in Mos Espa. He doesn't live there anymore, does he?
Fair point.
I'm sorry, but Empire, as far as I'm concerned, did nothing wrong.
No.
Okay, I take your points on board, but as someone who unlocked the TIE Interceptor in Rogue Squadron, no matter how much you want to play in that TIE Fighter, you're going to have to put up with the noise.
I love the TIE Fighter.
Constantly.
I love the TIE Fighter.
Really?
The only thing that...
How much?
Oh, a lot. The only bad thing...
All the time?
Yeah. The only bad thing about the TIE Fighters is their design. Like, they're not designed to take a pounding. So if you get clipped, that's kind of it. But that's what all the secret TIE Fighters are for.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. Like,
Yeah, what about the? Is it TIE Interceptor? Which one is Thrawn's one? The TIE Defender?
I think he has an interceptor because he's an officer, so he has a special interceptor. The same with the Imperial Guard.
Yeah. I'll go with Thrawn's TIE Interceptor. It can rotate and change direction on the spot. Like, its midsection pivots when the wings change with it. Like, it's brilliant.
Here's one for you though, right? And I was kind of looking into this. The reason why the TIE technology is so flimsy as such is because the people who made it realized that if they build it to break, they're gonna make more money. So it's a profiteering idea. Like, the biggest problem in Star Wars isn't religious fanatics; it's profiteering, and no one ever got rid of that. So it's just like, all right.
But I suppose that the engineer who made it has been in business for decades. Like, the same guy who built the TIE fighters also built Darth Maul's ship that he traveled to Tatooine in.
Yep.
What's that called? The Sith Infiltrator?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Both of them were built by the same guy.
Wow.
Like, designed by the same guy. So, like,
if I follow your logic, then Bryn, does that mean that, like, there's a Bank of Westeros style organization in the Star Wars universe that no one has dealt with yet?
But this is something. This is touched upon in episode 8, and it's also touched on a little bit in Solo. So absolutely.
Oh yeah, and in the Clone Wars, there was that bank that worked for both the clones and the droids. I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. So this is entirely canon.
You know, the thing about it is, like, a lot of the propaganda we get is heavily skewed upon the rebel side, where it's like, they're fighting this oppressive system. It's like, not really.
Yeah.
They just introduced their own oppressive system, which is, that's not any better. Like, to be honest with you, the most free society in Star Wars was probably the Old Republic, but anything after that, not really. They just introduced failing democracy. So,
well, again, like, if the Empire is so bad, then how come it was a good thing that they stopped the Trade Federation from having a blockade on Naboo? It just
is what it is.
That was something that had to happen. No one can disagree with that.
No.
Yeah, but that's a bigger question of, like, authoritarian rule versus the freedom to let some people be jerks.
You just spend too much time listening to those rebel scum. That's all that's happened here.
Okay, listen. The rebels had to be dealt with, and that's just the way it was. So,
I'll send you some literature after we're done here.
Just NerdToKnowMedia, we are firmly in the camp of the Empire. It's just the way that it is.
Yeah. They did nothing wrong.
I may be missing from next week's podcast due to a lightning explosion.
I didn't say we're Sith. It's just the Imperials.
No one forced you to get struck by lightning.
No, okay, but some other good news from that. So obviously, I'm really excited for that because I can't wait. Like, I love flying TIE fighters, and even flying X-wing is quite fun. And it's great. So that's coming out in October. The pre-order bonus looks pretty good. We'll have to see, if it actually plays. Apparently, there's no paid DLC. It's all, your $60 is your $60. So we'll have to see if that's BS or not, because it is made by EA. So
it's is this the third apology for Battlefront, the newer ones? I know they fixed up Battlefront 2, but like, what's the angle here? Like,
yeah, that's my first worry as well. Like, this explains why they're kind of killing off Battlefront 2. Because obviously this is the next big game, right? So it kind of makes sense. But we'll have to see. Another bit of Star Wars news that happened this week was Doomcock came out and said that they might be wiping the Star Wars movies from canon.
The last trilogy.
The 7, 8, and 9.
7, 8, and 9. So according to his video and some of the leaks, there is like a civil war going on at the moment in Disney or in Lucasfilm, where there's a faction that really want to get rid of it and a faction that don't want to get rid of it. And how they're going to do it is something we've joked about on the show. So,
oh my god, have you emailed them?
Please tell me it's the Dallas scene. Please tell me it's the Dallas scene. I just need that Dallas scene, damn it.
It's something kind of better than that. It's the Veil of Divorce. Have you guys seen this in Rebels?
Yes.
Oh yeah, they go into the sort of nowhere zone where time doesn't exist, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so basically it's multiverse kind of thing, where they're going to use that to kind of retroactively undo everything that they did.
That's funny because I was expecting Star Wars 9 to be an Avengers Endgame clone. I guess it was just like one step out from it.
Yeah, well, now they kind of have to because they have nowhere to go, and the series is basically dead unless they do this. So
Mm.
it's kind of like, Captain Kennedy's, you know, well, we don't want to be one of those shows that go off onto it, but this definitely does seem something that.
Oh, we don't.
No, we don't.
We're 70 episodes in, man. I don't think we're going back.
No, but what I mean is like the this the leaks from Doomcock is usually right.
Mm.
Like they're usually pretty on the money, and I would believe this. So based on what they're planning, it wouldn't surprise me. The only thing I'd say is how are they going to do this? Like, would this be a movie? Would this be a mini series? Would this just be an issue of like a papal bull from Lucasfilm going, "This is canon now"? Like, how do you guys think they'd even do that?
Ray just opens up her mouth on screen and just goes, "I have to go now. My planet needs me."
I have to go now. My parents need me.
Well, I suppose they could do it on Disney Plus. They could release a series, like a 90-minute series or something, where they're like, "Hey, this is tying
That'd be
stuff
cool.
up," but I don't know. Like,
if I had to guess, I'd say they'd retroactively remove them in a way that people on Disney Plus could see it, and people who went to the cinemas didn't know about it and didn't care. I can't see them putting that bad voodoo whatever up on the cinema. Put it that way, like.
Yeah, like I think whatever way they're going to do it, they're going to open it up in such a way that it makes sense, but not something that goes, "Hey, all these stuff, it isn't canon. It never happened." I don't think it would happen in a movie form, but definitely in Disney Plus, they're like, "Hey, we can open this up again." Or here, even still, if they did an Avenger Endgame rewrite, we've already seen that work, and it was like the biggest movie of all time. So, it's definitely possible.
The one thing I definitely think they should not do it in is another Fortnite special.
Oh yeah, don't.
Oh no, I think that's brilliant. Do it there.
Yeah,
it worked so well the first time.
Yeah, because everyone knows that everyone loved that.
Yeah,
that worked out so well, having key plot points for a film not be in the film.
Like, I tried to play Fortnite before, and I only got past I only got to the load screen.
You couldn't get to the lobby.
No, I got to the lobby, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. Help me.
My kids in Tala are still wondering what's going wrong. They've been trying so hard to explain to you how to get through the menu. I was like, did he push the button?
If you ever, like, you're basically like a stage removed from getting that content ID in South Park, where it's like, how do you tame a horse in Minecraft? It's like, how do you log into Fortnite? I have no idea.
It's not me. It's the kids who are wrong. It's the kids who are out of touch.
Of course, Darren, that's what it is.
It always is the children who are wrong, not me.
Yes, Mr. O'Connor. Everything stinks.
Everything stinks. But yeah, so
can I just ask though? I know you guys don't necessarily, but you've been watching this Mandalorian making of thing they've been releasing for the past few weeks.
I have not.
Neither have I. I have been busy catching up on Rebels. So.
Ooh, that's a much better show. But anyway, well, I mean, then the making of the Mandalorian, like, but no, I really wish you guys had, because I have incredibly complicated feelings towards it. On the one hand, it's nice to see them making it with practical effects and stuff, but there's these long 10-minute, like, round the table conversations with the directors where they all kind of speak wistfully about how lucky they are to be here, and, like, what a nice atmosphere it was on set, and, like, it kind of, I think Red Letter Media said it kind of feels like a political ad. There's something deeply unsettling about the way it's presented. It feels like an ad for a show I've already seen.
So it doesn't come across like the 18-hour making of documentary that Peter Jackson made for Lord of the Rings.
No, it's not like that. Like, I mean, obviously, like in like the Hobbit documentaries, like they're just honest about how tough it was. It's the comparison is like, if you ever seen the New Hope, not a New Hope, a Phantom Menace making of, where George Lucas looks really sad.
Oh yeah,
and he's like, if I say cut and they don't stop, could you just say cut, please? Like that kind of thing. It's like the other extreme. It's like, I mean, it is what it is. It's like an ad with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and all that kind of stuff. And there's a few good anecdotes in there and stuff. But, like, there's a lot of, like...
a miniseries, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not even that it doesn't make a miniseries. It's just, there's a slight artificiality in a documentary series, and
on
at that
Disney
point,
Plus?
what? Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Well, that's why.
But
Like it's
yeah.
like everything on Disney Plus, content wise, that is new is going through that Disney filter. So they're hardly going to come on and go, "Oh, this guy was a doucher. Here's why." You know?
No, but like to compare, like on the Doctor Who DVDs, like they just let David Tennant have a camera and he filmed all the stuff that went well and didn't. You can still have a tiny bit of realism. It
Yeah,
just
but not through the Disney lens. Remember,
No,
well, then why even make a documentary?
content.
Why take a format that exists specifically to explore truth and
Cian,
not have it like what?
But
My
Cian-
head is exploding.
But Cian, you have to remember this is Disney.
Yeah.
They need to be seen to being a good place to work.
Exactly.
They need to be seen.
That's it. Yeah, and I'm not saying that bad stuff happened on The Mandalorian that we don't know about. Like, I mean, it's Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and like Bryce Dallas Howard and all the others. They seem really cool and all that. Like, I'm sure it was grand. I just don't know why they need to go the extra mile to make it look like the best filmmaking experience since, I don't know, say Lord of the Rings, I guess.
Yeah, but again, like even with like Lord of the Rings, like Lord of the Rings has almost no time to talk about the negatives of working on it, even though they were basically in crunch for 18 months.
That's true. Yeah.
Like,
they had,
but
the actors survived on a diet of eggs for 18 months.
Yeah, like at one point, like I mean, they basically like had like that was basically a production where everyone's very positive about it because they just saw it as a really fun experience because most of the actors in that basically went, "Oh, it was great. We went camping in amazing scenery." And and then you also had like set designers going, "Oh, it was great. I built a castle. Oh, it was great. It was great. I made incredible clothes. It was great. Do you know how many swords I made?" Like, and that's kind of like, but that's like how they talked about it. They don't really they didn't have time to talk about negatives in it, but you never got the impression from it that like it wasn't like a stress-free environment either, unless it was the one production guy who basically talked in monotone and would go, "This was an incredibly challenging scene to make, and we got through it." And like anytime he comes up, it's just like, "Okay, can you get someone who speaks normally, please?"
That's the thing about making of stuff, or even director's commentary. It's either going to be very good or very bland.
Yeah.
And
I love commentary, and
so do I. But it's not an exact science.
No,
and it really does depend on the people. But all you're saying about with David Tennant, like David Tennant is David Tennant. Jon Favreau doesn't really strike me as someone who is going to, talk.
No, and I don't mean to imply that I want it to be guerrilla style. Your man who plays the Mandalorian running around with his iPhone, like literally filming the walls. All I'm saying is like, what content, I get it, but what is the value of putting so much sheen onto a making of to the point that you're not even watching a making of anymore?
It's a
because
product.
it's Disney.
It's a Disney product. Get excited for my next product.
Yeah, it's
Literally.
Disney.
Yeah.
It's like
it's shocking the Mandalorian exists. Period.
Yeah, that I mean, I don't want to be like a Debbie Downer, but we're not going to get another Mandalorian. That was like a lightning in a bottle situation, I suspect.
I don't know. The second season looks pretty good. They have like the casting's pretty decent, but as I'm saying to you, if this civil war in Disney doesn't work itself out, like they know that they're on a losing the trajectory. So it has to be. The only thing supporting Disney right now is the Mandalorian. So,
but that's just it. But the reason the Mandalorian was able to exist,
not Disney. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I get you. But like the reason the Mandalorian exists is because no one was particularly looking for it. Once they start trying to replicate the Mandalorian model, then it's kind of just
it's gonna be like when Tommy Wiseau tried to make movies after The Room.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy. Yeah,
where you go like, "Oh, this isn't special anymore."
Yeah. Well, like I don't know, if they just stick to telling stories, they'll be fine. Instead of just trying to please everybody, because if you're trying to please everybody, you're just going to alienate people, and that's kind of like the main problem with Disney Star Wars.
This is the media company that sanitized the Grimm's fairy tales, and you want them to not do that for other stories.
It's a fair point. Like, here's the thing, with your man who made Jurassic World, if they had just made his Star Wars Episode 9, it would have been awesome. But it was way
Oh
too
no, I
extreme.
think it would have been bad, but it would have been a more interesting bad.
Oh well, yeah, I don't know. I would have enjoyed it a lot more than what we got, which was just.
Oh, me too. I think if they just bit the bullet and gone with Trevorrow's one and went, these are 3 Star Wars movies. We didn't have a plan for them. They're each their own mad thing that some director decided to take with it. You'd be like, fine.
But you know
That's
what, right?
honest.
On
it's
that
flawed,
point,
but I like it. But yeah.
But on that point, that actually sets up the kind of cleansing completely well, because it's like these are just Elseworld stories. This is a different timeline. So it's like I would be prepared to accept that and be like, yeah, you know what? That's okay, because it's not real. I know none of it's real anyway, but you know what I mean.
It's not canon.
It's not canon, right? It's like, okay, it's fine. And then just kind of slowly recanonize some of the stuff, and that way, if you recanonize a lot of what's already there, you can just be like, pick and choose and make these movies.
Yeah, like Thrawn is back and all that kind of stuff. They're creeping stuff back in, like. He is. He's out there. Oh no, I won't spoil it. But he's in the universe, like.
Yeah, he is in the universe, but he's in the wrong timeline. He's in the it's a bit too early, like. So, I appreciate what they did, and I think
the voice actor for Thrawn and Rebels is perfect.
Rebels,
like Lars Mikkelsen. Have you ever seen him act in person? Like,
no.
Oh, he's in Sherlock. He's in one of those Lenny Abrahamson films.
Who was he in Sherlock?
He was. Do you remember Series 3? The guy with the glasses who owned all the media companies.
Oh yeah. Oh,
that's
cool.
they compared him to a shark. Yeah. He's in that. He's not like an English native speaker, so he's like had to learn it to play all these roles, as far as I know. But like his big breakthrough thing was in the original Killing in the first series, and he's brilliant in that too. Like,
yeah, his voice is phenomenal for Thrawn. Like, it's exactly how I imagined the voice would sound. So, yeah, top notch.
Yeah. Oh, The Witcher. He's in The Witcher as well on Netflix.
Speaking of The Witcher, there's a good announcement made today. Well, a bad announcement made, but a good announcement if you like some free stuff. Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed to November, which sucks. But if you pre-order it on GOG, you can get a bunch of Witcher stuff for free.
Oh, sweet.
So that's
how many times has because I was actually, just for nostalgia, I went back to the first episode I was on, and it was the announcement of Cyberpunk. So I don't know how many episodes I've done, but my entire media career has been the lifespan of waiting for Cyberpunk.
It should be out now. It should have been out in April.
It should have
been April. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, it should have been out mid-April, and then it got pushed back to mid-September.
Yeah.
And now it's pushed back to November.
Yeah, because like they announced the Final Fantasy VII remake at the same expo.
They did, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah. I know that one was a long, long time coming, but still, like.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm okay with I think the best time to do it would have been in April, because the whole lockdown thing, and people would have like really liked that. But since they missed that window, they might as well just kind of finish it, because if they don't finish it, it's going to be no finished game, and what's the point?
That's true, and I'd much rather they took their time, made a good game, and didn't put their staff under pressure. If it's worth waiting for something good. Like
I'm getting to a point now where the idea of putting someone through crunch so I can be entertained is just not something I can morally accept.
Yeah.
So,
and more often than not, games that have been put through crunch aren't entertaining. Because
you say that, but like you've definitely played games that went through crunch. Like, I mean, like people, like I have never met anyone who didn't like Grim Fandango, but that game absolutely had crunch.
Yeah, well, look, the thing about crunch is just part of the industry, but I think
it's part of entertainment in general.
Yeah, it is. It's just the kind of, so you can't really give out about it too much. But what I would say is the needless use of it as just everything is just unneeded. And with a project like this, where they're a small studio, well, not really, but you know what I mean, like a small studio where they can kind of take the time. And look, we're gonna wait for it, so I'm happy enough waiting for a finished game, a game where they don't have to work 7 days a week and all that kind of stuff. So I welcome it.
Yeah, more power to it. I hope it's really successful so that they can promote that behavior going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, like compared to what I don't know. I know you're a big Jim Sterling fan, Keane, and Bryn as well. Like, but with the stuff that happened with The Last of Us 2, all that horrible.
Should we talk about this on the air? I don't actually know what happened behind the scenes.
I haven't played it, so I'm not going to play it. So that's my bias straight forward. I have no desire. Like I've read the leaks, I've seen the leaks, and this game just doesn't appeal to me. It seems like a game made in spite. So I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not doing that. So
I'll get around to playing it at some point. It's just I have no ambition to play a game set in a world where an infectious disease has destroyed the planet.
That's also true.
Right now, we
are already living that. That's like,
I don't know. Like, I mean, you did the little segment with Keith Byrne for the YouTube channel today, Dara. On that episode, he talked about that he's really enjoying playing zombie games because it's slightly more stressful than his actual life, and then his actual life becomes more relaxing. So maybe there's that cathartic release, like you watch a sad film and you need to cry, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, look, the thing about The Last of Us, like, it was a great game. It's one of those top tier games that everyone should play. This game, apparently, it's not like Spec Ops, where we talked about last week, where it takes you on that journey. This tries to do that, apparently, but with characters who you love, and then just backfires. So it's like, like I've heard that. I've heard it being compared to Schindler's List, and I'm like, you know what? One, that's probably not apt, and two, I don't want to play Schindler's List the game. That doesn't sound like a fun time. Thanks.
I have heard it described as being a misery simulator, which is exactly what Schindler's List would be as a game.
Yeah, it's like, no, man, don't need that.
Well,
sorry.
Games can be sad without being like aggressively unpleasant. Like I finished playing Beyond Two Souls recently, and I really enjoyed that because of the intrigue, because of like the cast, because of like figuring it out.
And that's
that's a very sad game. Like,
but that's a David Cage game. It's not like a mean game. It just takes you on a journey.
Yeah,
there's a difference between this has sad themes and you're going to hate. Like apparently there's a bit where you kill a dog, and then like in a graphic way, I'm like, you know what? No, I don't want to kill a dog. I love my dog.
Yeah.
So no.
Could you imagine if the game like somehow found out what breed your dog was in the real world?
Here's the truth of it. I remember reading Game of Thrones, 2012 before I saw the show. Still haven't really seen the full show yet. But when Ghost was there, I had a border collie puppy, and all I could think about was nothing better happened to that pup because I won't be able to handle it. So no thanks.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah,
like it's just one of those things where I think, like I've been saying this to a bunch of my friends, that like the concept of what The Last of Us 2 is exactly what I'm not looking for in a game right now.
Yes.
Like if someone said, "Oh, do you want to play this like gritty, realistic game where you're going to experience someone going through some shit, or do you want to see a game, or do you want to play a game where it's completely off the wall and unrealistic?" I go, I'm going to take the second option every time.
Yeah.
That's
it. Like at the moment, that's why Cyberpunk would have been great now, because it is that.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm really into Deus Ex again. Like I've put like nearly 40 hours into that game, and I replayed it again. It's because it is that exact thing, Bryn, where you're like, it's completely unrealistic. It's based in the future, and you feel in control of all these different cool augmentations of that. It's not set in the real world during society breakdown. It's not fun.
Yeah, I started playing Fallout New Vegas again, and that's the same kind of thing for me, because whatever's going on in my life, as soon as I put on that radio station with the Night King broadcasting why you should join them, I just get in a good mood. Like,
I think that's what we need. A game like that is not something that is needed now, and even if it was similar to the first one, We don't need that because we can go outside and walk around, and it feels like you're living in a post-apocalyptic world. So no thanks.
Like
Naughty
I
Dog,
remember,
go back and make Crash Bandicoot.
I remember a couple of years ago, I was at a con that what's your man's name who plays Joel, the voice actor, Troy Baker. He was talking about what kind of what voices he loves doing for people and what voices he won't do at all. And like he's going like, yeah, doing the Joker or doing like one of the other litany of characters that he's done in his career. He has no problem doing them, like Claptrap and from Borderlands. He has no problem doing them. He said, like you said, Cast Iron, though, it's like if you ask me to do Joel, I'm not going to do it because the emotional state I have to get myself into where I can do Joel is not something I want to casually visit. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
And you know what? Like, there's something about that where I went, I'll play Last of Us once or twice more because I want to show it to my girlfriend because I think there is something really, really good quality to it in terms of the acting there. But it's not a game that I really like. It's not like playing Shadow of the Colossus, which I love.
Yeah.
But like it's not like it's not a great gaming experience that I want to go back to all that much.
Yeah.
So I
look.
Well, this is
sense.
Sorry, you go first, Dara. Sorry.
I'm just gonna say it. It makes sense. Like I think there is the case of games as art, and that's fair. But in this case, it's like we also play games to be entertained and as some form of escapism. And gang, we're back after that short, unprecedented break. Because I accidentally hit the power button and nearly killed our stream. But
it wasn't like a Sopranos ending.
It
guys.
wasn't. It was me hitting the wrong button. But we recovered.
I'm dying to hear what point was interrupted.
The point where Bryn was like, the thing about it is, and then he just cut off. So we don't know what we're talking about. But
I can't wait for the clickbait articles to come out about,
but
the for and against that ending.
Yeah,
but
it's basically the end of the Simpsons episode with God going, the meaning of life is
exactly. But the thing of it is, we were going to swap topics after the break anyway. So in the half an hour we have left, let's talk about and this is going to be a monumental task, which is we're not going to get done because this is like nearly the best season of the Simpsons, if not the best.
Shots fired.
If not the best. I think season 7 is the best one, though, to be fair, but we'll get to that. So we're going to start with season 6 of The Simpsons. Now, I think this is going to be a 3-parter, but hopefully it won't be. But
I have a feeling you're right.
Yeah, I think that might happen, or even if we break it up into half-an-hour segments where we do it every week or whatever, which is what we might do.
I'm just looking forward to like the 10-hour supercut of this that you do like in 3 months' time.
Oh man. I'm just looking forward to season 12. We're going to talk about season 12 in a positive light. Everybody hates that. I don't understand why. I'm like,
because it's the first bad season.
It's not bad. It's great.
It's great in context.
Okay, fair. I'll give you that. But it does have some of my favorite moments, so I'm like, I can't be mad at it,
Yeah, but it's great in context. You know what comes after it. People when there was only 12 seasons, it was definitely the worst.
That's okay. That's a fair point. Well, season 1 is weak.
Yeah, but season
1 has heart.
Yeah, but season 12 has a football in the ground.
No, it doesn't, though.
I know. I know. You just set it up. I had to take that shot.
I was half expecting you to go, "Oh, I see you played season 5, season 12 before."
Okay, well, let's get into it, guys. Let's start off with Bart of Darkness, which is so good, and it has actually a friend of the show, Gary, always would quote Saint Stephen's Day one. And I didn't know St. Stephen's Day was a real thing until I was like, oh my god, this is a real thing. And so that's something I learned from this. Also,
has it restored your faith in The Simpsons after the Guys and Dolls thing?
No, it has not. That still that. Also, it has another good Gary quote where it's like, oh, it's a fine bar in English, but it is no pool. And it's like, that's another...
The bit after, do it! It's so good.
Shout out to Gary, because they're two of his biggies that he uses all the time.
I remember years ago in college, I helped build a set for 12 Angry Men, and we were putting up all the flats for the walls and everything. And one guy just goes, "'Tis a fine barn, but sure 'tis no pool English."
Did you go do it?
I did, yeah.
Good.
Oh, had to.
And I can't remember who pointed it out, but I love the whole bit where they go, "Can we have a bull dad? Can we have a bull dad? Can we have a bull dad?" And she like interrupts it. Like, wait.
Yeah. Yeah. So
like
good.
there's just so many little. It doesn't get to the sort of Rear Window stuff until over the 2/3 mark. It's very much its own thing. Like,
well,
I love that when the rear window stuff comes into it, though. It's so great.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't get that either until I was, 16, 17, when in school they made us watch a bunch of Hitchcock.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, cool, okay.
Yeah, I didn't understand that that's supposed to be Jimmy Stewart either.
They got there. Was the one where the school goes on strike in this season too? Because if so, they're getting their money's worth out of whoever's doing their Jimmy Stewart voice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think same season. I think.
I think it is.
It's in Bill's house and Fred's house.
Jimmy, I don't know. Like, it's the references are so obscure that it just kind of build in this whole plethora of 20th century pop culture to a point where they're just pulling from it, and this is when they're really kind of, those gears are really going for it. You see a lot of it in Itchy and Scratchy Land as well, where they're pretty much doing a whole full takedown of Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. Even in that one episode, the Itchy and Scratchy thing is a reference to the first Star Trek episode with the Pelosians with their brains that can just magic anything.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Bart Darkenstow, great way to start the season. Really good start. Probably one of the best one.
Probably the best season opening.
That isn't a Halloween episode.
I
put that in as an addendum because they used the Halloween episode as the best one. Lisa's rival, very good.
Yeah.
We as we discovered recently. Yeah, that's a good one because like a lot of the vehicles for Lisa can be a bit on the preachy side, but this one's a nice fun one. It's nice seeing her on the back foot for once. Like,
I think it's good. I know it's very hard to root for her because Allison is so cool.
Yeah, I think it's more just like Lisa having to deal with her own insecurities and having to go like, but why don't I like? She's going like, why don't I like this person?
Yeah,
and that like, it's just an interesting. It's just an interesting, like, it's one of the few times we get to see her actually like have conflict because she's usually a lot more assured. You know
what I do like though? I love Ralph in this for his little quote. He's like, "You're deceptive," and it's just like, where did you learn the word deceptive?
But like,
I beat the smart kids.
I beat the smart kids. But you brought up a fair point there, which is that it would have been so easy to make the Allison character unlikable. They kind of did that in a much later series with the redheaded bully.
Yeah,
that she kind of does the pheromone thing with.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's much more interesting to have the rival, as you say, be a really cool character and like kind of essentially making it even harder for Lisa to hate her. Like,
yeah, because like she's basically better than Lisa at everything.
At everything Lisa considers valuable, certainly. Yeah.
Except for dioramas, obviously.
Yeah.
Because
obviously
Ralph brings original Star Wars figures, so
yeah. Like nothing beats that, though.
They're all there.
Yeah, even Chewie.
So good. It's followed up by.
No, hang on. You can't talk about this episode and not talk about Milhouse being on the FBI's most wanted list.
Oh yeah.
Just because I feel like it's probably the top meme consistently all year round.
I don't care.
Which is a Fugitive reference for anyone who hasn't seen Fugitive.
Oh, I always assumed it was its own thing, but that kind of illustrates your point from earlier, Dara.
No, it's the Harrison Ford Fugitive reference.
Yeah.
Where he gets arrested for killing his wife and goes on the run.
Yeah, and it's like Tommy Lee Jones chasing down Harrison Ford, and he's like, "I didn't kill my wife."
I don't care. Yeah, it's so good. It's good. Actually, Keen, it's a great movie.
Yeah,
honestly, it's a really good flick. Yeah. The next one is followed by it's very poor. It's another clip. It's called Another Simpsons Clip Show, and it's really
Yeah,
bad.
this is I feel like I went out on a limb to defend the clip show back in series 4 or whatever. This one, isn't really. It doesn't kind of earn its stripes in the same way that the earlier one did, or the 138th Spectacular, or even the singing one.
Well,
There's a distinct lack of effort. Like,
they're all doing something. This is just doing nothing.
Yeah, and something I never noticed till I rewatched this. Even the slot of the scenes at the kitchen table, the animation quality jumps up and down. So they're clearly just reusing footage from older things. Like
there was nothing here but filler.
Yeah.
Honestly, and it was poor because it's as I said, this is one of the best seasons, if not the next one. And it's hampered, it's crippled by this.
It's the first episode as well on IMDb to score below a 6.
Really?
The first episode.
Okay.
So just give you an idea of what we're talking about this in terms of the rating for the show. It's the first time that it drops below 6. Now that's gonna be a quality marker we're gonna get very used to if we go past season 12. So like,
if you want us wrong about season 12.
Before we go back down that rabbit hole, I remember back when, there was only 9 or 10 series of The Simpsons out, Jesus, and like you just had the good ones on Sky One. If you got like say the Mindy episode and then this, it was a killer, or any of them, like the Grandpa one or whatever, because you were just watching the same one again,
You weren't into it, it was kind of just like, as I said, there was nothing fun or unique about this. It was just kind of like, it's really lazy and it's really poor. And also it has, like, the Mindy one is great, but it's great as an episode. The Grandpa one is not, well, the girls disagree, but not good. So it's like, they think it's good, and that's fine. But for me, I'm like, nah, man.
Yeah,
not good.
But like on the sliding scale of clip shows, there are ones that will be worse.
This one's
but the worst ones are at least slightly more inventive.
Yeah.
Like, and I say slightly. That I think the time I really lost faith in The Simpsons for the first time was like that one that starts with Forrest Gump, and then it's like a roast of Homer Simpson.
Oh yeah,
like that. That was the first painful Simpsons episode I remember.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that one. But
it's still more inventive because these are original jokes. They're not good jokes, but they're original. Yeah.
Well, look, but the next couple of episodes really make up for it, right? Itchy and Scratchy Land, and this is a sore subject because I should be in Disney World right now. Thank you, virus, for ruining the year and my trip that I spent.
So, do you think that Disneyland is currently like Euro Itchy and Scratchy Land?
No, it's not. It's grand, like, but we can't go there because we're still on a ban list. Yeah. So it's just like, all right, cool. This kind of sucks. But yeah, so I was watching this and I'm like,
there's no going to Mickey Mouse to someone in a Mickey Mouse costume and saying, "Hey, Mouse, said cheese for you."
No.
I finally, now that I was watching it on Disney Plus, I finally got the political prisoner joke. I kicked a giant mouse in the butt. Do you want me to draw you a diagram?
It's so good. No, obviously this is the home for the Bort references.
Yeah. We need more Bort license plates in the gift shop.
Come on, Bort. Come along, Bort. Excuse you talking to me? No, my son is also called Bort. I love the little. I have to say, what I love about this is someone who's gone to Disney most of their life and has a big, like, that's how we were raised basically. But from going to it, it was like, in Main Street USA, they have a lot of these little tents for Walt Disney where you can go in and see the history of the movies, and the little takedown of how they spin history and stuff like that, where it's just like, everybody loved them except for that period in the 30s where he makes the movie
Nazi Supermen are superiors. I feel like this is a ball that Futurama ran more with in its second episode on the moon.
Probably the same writers.
But that's exactly it. That this was kind of the warm up to that. That was a much more savage take of that particular quality of Disney rewriting history. I know off the air we're talking about Lindsay Ellis. She does a video on how particularly Disney does that. So yeah, there's definitely, I'm impressed that Disney Plus actually put this episode up there because it's very pointed.
It is very pointed, and it's in context, it's even more pointed. But as an episode by itself, it's just kind of hilarious. And this is one that I'd hand to anybody and go, look, you have to watch this. It also has one of my favorite gags where it's like, Bart's dead. That's right, dead tired. This is so good. It's still so good. It's brilliant.
So great.
If you haven't seen it, check it out. You'll have a great time, honestly.
Now remember, guys, we're in the itchy lot.
That's another thing. That's another thing that's so true. If you've been to Disneyland, where the parking lots are massive, and it's just huge. It's this reminds me a lot of National Lampoon's Vacation.
Even the way that Homer is dressed kind of harkens to that a bit.
Yeah, I think they were really channeling that in this episode.
I notice it a lot when there's that frame of Homer saying, "Nobody ruins my family vacation but me and maybe the boy." Like that's definitely like framing from the first National Lampoon, where he's like the park's closed, and he's like standing in front of them, angry, like, you know.
Yeah, I love like that they basically took The Prisoner and inspired it for everything they did on the back end. So like all the uniforms are all taken from that '60s show.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'd forgotten about that. The cars, yeah.
I forgot to carry the one.
Yeah.
We've also arrested your older, bolder, fatter son.
Okay. I'd be so embarrassed to be that mother.
Yeah. I'm gutted that Lisa isn't here because they go to like TGI Scratchies and it's like Happy New Year every 5 minutes. I really relate to that poor guy. Yeah. He's like, please kill me.
It must be so fun to ring in the new year again and again and again.
Please kill me.
Okay.
So good.
The next one has one of my favorite like running gags in it. So Sideshow Bob Roberts, right, where it's the beginning. I love Birch T. Barlow. Like, he's like my favorite character in the early Simpsons. He's so funny. I just love that, like, Homer's little speech about not voting and everything. It's such a savage take of like the mindset of America in the 90s, and still even to today as well. It kind of can be carried over. Like it's
this great. One. I mean, I kind of said this about the Mr. Burns one back in series 2, but this one has held up eerily well. Like, you know, like, not to get too political, but like a sort of Fox type news pundit like ends up promoting like this criminal into a political office. It's hard not.
But look, what I will say on that is, what's interesting about it is it cuts both ways, right? So what I like about it is, it's, you know, we know Sideshow Bob's a Republican because he said that.
I find my hook to you all.
No, he said it literally when he was running for you know what prison is like for a lifelong Republican.
Yeah. You caught that early on, didn't you?
So he set it up, and I was like, great. But what's cool about it is they're showing the influence that this can happen, but then at the same time they're going through the litany of stuff that Joe Quimby has been convicted or that he's done.
Yeah,
and it's just like, wow, this is great because it works on.
It's not the mayor's fault that the stadium collapsed.
For mayor, he'd vote for you.
My favorite thing is Sideshow Bob's attack ad, where he's like, it's like Mayor Joe Quimby set up a revolving door prison system. He even let out Sideshow Bob, a man convicted twice for attempted murder. Vote Sideshow Bob for mayor. So much.
It's so true though. Have we? Because I've missed the past 2 or 3 episodes. Have we passed the Stampy episode where he goes through both the Republican and Democratic?
Yes, we have.
Like, that's so perfect. Like, that we're evil followed by we can't govern.
Yeah. It's like, what was it? It's like, we're evil. I can't remember what the second.
We're evil and we know it. Something like that.
Something like that. It's like, we can't govern. We hate ourselves.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
I think that could be just Ireland now. Where it's just like literally that's what it is. Yeah. So what's great about this is what I like about Simpsons at this point, when they go on the attack, they attack both sides pretty much evenly.
Yeah, they don't. It's a quality that we always give to South Park, but because the Simpsons has had its kind of edges sheened off it over the years, we don't really associate with them anymore.
But what's cool about this is like that. Sorry, Brent, for coming across you, but that's when satire works. When it's like we're actually putting a lens on the way things are, rather than creating a new lens for you to look through.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that didn't help The Simpsons so much is that I don't think its politics necessarily changed. I just think that the dial of American politics shifted so that they were more further over than where they were when they started.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really seem like they've really changed any of their stances. It's just that the attitude of America has changed. You know?
That's fair, yeah.
But yeah, like the Such a Bob Roberts is a brilliant episode. I love that it brings up the idea of voter fraud. And like, because that's been used as an excuse for why people get into office forever as a conspiracy theory in America. I love as well that they got pets to do it. It just like, it's just beautiful.
They got, what was that? Sorry.
They also had They also had pets part of the voter fraud.
Oh yeah, Snowball 2, please not you. And I love Smithers being the snitch and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's all just so. And actually, yeah, it's a great vehicle for like kind of Sideshow Bob as a character listening to the old people crone on and all that kind of stuff. Because like, I mean, obviously he's like a Krusty the Clown performer, but he is charismatic, and that's a quality that like a lot of the episodes don't write towards. Like,
absolutely. Like, I mean, this is a guy who's definitely like set up so that he can be a master manipulator. But his biggest weakness is that he's also so easily manipulated. That's how his downfall comes through.
I could totally see that working in the real world, that he's so insecure that he wants people to know his evil plan.
Because they go like, I was like, oh well, you're obviously like you're too much of a you're not smart enough to have planned something like this, Ed. You're just a pawn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ringo to his Rest of the Beatles. Yeah. I've got to say, actually, that's one of my favorite lines. What's one of my favorite lines in The Simpsons? Like when it's like, place the mayor under arrest. What? Oh yes. Oh, that's stuff I did.
I love where he's like, look, here's all the documents, and he just has them on his person.
In his hair.
He wasn't planning to actually reveal them. He just carries them around because he loves them so much. And he's like,
it is probably the safest place.
Well, Brent, to be fair, if you are a master criminal, you're going to be very proud of it.
Yeah, but he's also like, each one, well, it says as much. He says that each one is a work of Machiavellian art.
Yeah.
Like, see, to be fair, I don't know. I'd vote for Sideshow Bob.
Well,
don't blame me. I voted for Kodos.
I think Homer's right though. I'm not really a fan of his Bart killing policy, but I am in favor of his Selma killing policy.
Well, I can totally see like what Krusty says as well. He's like, you frame me for armed robbery, but I really want that tax cut. That's still so American Republican. Like,
to be fair, tax cut would be nice. Just saying. But here's
upper class tax cut.
Oh yeah, well.
That's what he says.
Oh, fair. Well, maybe not that. But what I was talking about, what is funny is, right, a little bit later on in the run of the series, right, you get to see what effect he has as a mayor when he lives in Italy. And it's like, oh, this is a cool little callback. So that's why I think, everyone who hates Ladder Simpsons, don't. Give it a chance. There is some good stuff there. It's just very hard to find.
Yeah, it's a shame you have to go looking for it.
Yeah. But definitely one of my favorite episodes, I must say. This is great. Treehouse of Horror 5. Yeah, guys, we're not getting through this in one sitting. We're here. No.
Well, we do this as the last one then.
I'd say we should do this as the last one.
This is the last one I want to get through. I do want to touch on the background for Bryn's background.
Yeah.
So we'll do that one as the last one, because that is super good. We'll kind of skip a little bit, and then we'll make you pick another.
But it's such a mole man thing to do, to have him sit there suffering for an hour while we yammer on about Star Wars and then not get to it.
Exactly. It's so good. We have to talk about it.
It's just another part in the pain that he experiences every day.
Every day.
And he's only 31 years old as well.
Yeah, fair play to Lisa for opening her show with that quote. I don't know if it was the most recent episode, but she definitely did it.
Mole man in the morning.
Good mole man to you.
All right, so the next one is Treehouse of Horror 5. Now, listen, this one is a weird one because it has like the best parody in The Simpsons. The best.
Is this The Shining?
This is The Shining, yeah.
The Shining.
The
You don't want to
Shining,
get
The
sued. You don't want to
Toaster,
get sued. It's The
and
Shining.
The Prince.
Like, it's
Yeah.
so good. But it has
And yeah, no, you go first. Right.
I was just saying, it has like the best parody, but the weakest ending, I think.
Because a few episodes ago I said there was a Treehouse of Horror story that legitimately frightened me, and that is the school eating one.
Oh,
There's something deeply there isn't a lot of jokes, and it gets played very straight. Like they get like with the blender and everything. Like I don't know, it creeped me out in a good way. Like it's like. So yeah, I don't know. I love this one to bits, if only for the running gag of Willie getting killed in every single one of them.
This indeed is a disturbing universe.
Yeah, and a James Earl Jones cameo, which is always welcome.
So good. But yeah, no beer, no TV, make Homer something. The fact that they actually do like a full-on, almost shot-for-shot remake of The Shining.
Yeah.
And then they subvert the ending by having all the family sit in and get frozen.
Well, the
TV.
Tony Awards are on.
So good.
Yeah.
Urge to Kill, Rising.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Homer gets distracted and like a whole bunch of monsters have to drag him back to it.
Can't talk.
I also love that like it took them 3 attempts to get to that house.
Yeah, but that's a good point. Like the style is so good. Like it's got those stings down and all that kind of stuff. Like day one, day two, like that kind of thing.
These people love Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah,
that's true. Actually, because I introduced Stevie to Space Odyssey for the first time a day or two ago.
Oh my god, how long?
And like you can't.
How many tries did you take to watch it?
No, we had to take a break in the middle to put Prim to bed. But apart from that, we got through the whole thing. But you can't watch it without bloody running into Simpsons references.
No,
you could almost make up the whole film from just the bits the Simpsons have completely parodied. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
great.
It's really good. Actually, one of the later episodes, Simpsons do a full take of Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
And it's excellent.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
So, it's actually really decent, to be fair. Oh,
I love the time travel part of the Treehouse of Horror. The whole descent into him just losing his mind and going.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm not supposed to hit anything. I'm going to smash up everything.
That's just. Bug.
Yeah, because me and Stevie finished watching a show called The Time Tunnel, which is legit that played straight from the 60s. It's just that these two American guys try and get home and keep landing in the wrong place. Yeah. And they do go crazy after a while of the exhaustion of just keeping landing in trouble. Like you would after a while just snap after escaping a world run by Flanders. Like
it's very good. It's very, very good. It like I would say, again, the Treehouse of Horror episodes are kind of cheating, but they're also not. But definitely this is one of the top ones. Guys, we've done it. We've reached time. And we only got to episode 6. So
in fairness, we got talking about Star Wars.
We did, and other stuff.
I'm amazed we got through one episode.
The world is opening up again, so we have stuff to talk about, which means Star Wars
are
coming back.
I love the fact that I love the fact that Mole Man's episode is after the watershed, as it were, and won't make it onto the radio.
No.
Yeah.
No.
There's something so meta about that.
Yeah. Good Mole Man to you.
We'll save it. We'll wait until we have the rest of the team with us.
Yeah.
Don't know who's going to be on the show next week, but if it is a case of where we're going to do this as segments, we might do that as segments. If not, we'll do a full show next week. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. If you're listening on Phoenix 92.5 FM, thank you very much. Go over to nerdtoknowmedia.com. Check out all the shows. They're all really, really good. Support us via YouTube, Brave Browser, all that good stuff. Hey, look, subscribing is free, and that's the best way to help us right now.
And it means the world to us.
It does, and it means that, you get the content first and when we go live and all that good stuff as well.
Yeah.
But if not, try the Brave Browser, because that's also good. And of course, we have our Ko-fi and PayPal links up as well. Guys, is there anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Yeah, the episode 1 Pod Racer game is now available on the Nintendo Switch Network, and get it. Nice. It's amazing. Even Stevie's playing it, and she hates video games.
Fair enough. Yeah, the sequel's actually on the PS4 as well, if you want to play that.
It is.
There's a sequel?
Yeah,
there's a sequel. And it's on PS4.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's very good. And grown-up Anakin's in it as well, so you can play as grown-up Annie.
Yeah. Why would you want to, though?
Because it's Wizard.
Are we talking Attack of the Clones Anakin or
Yes.
Avengers
Yes.
Anakin? Those are
Yes,
two very different
They
Anakins.
They are, but it's Attack of the Clones. The actual game's quite good because
Okay.
I picked it up on the PS4 like a couple of years ago, so it is super fun. Bryn, is there anything you want to plug?
Not that I can think of. I am getting a hell of a lot more active on Twitter after all of this the craziness in this world. So
Is it St. Swithin's Day?
So if
See,
you want,
it's not just in your friend's house that gets quoted.
So yeah, like I'm a lot more active on Twitter. So if people want to reach out to me there, they can get to me at CastBrinCast. That's with 2 underscores between my name of Bryn. So catch me there.
And guys, again, nerdtoknowmedia.com, Phoenix 2.5 FM. Go over, support the show, and we will catch you next week here on Nerd to Know Basis. Bye, guys.
Bye.